Hi guys, welcome to here. So I have been binge watching Trump 2.0 and it's really been interesting. It's been funny, well, except if you're on whichever side you are really, and then it's just really been fascinating and interesting. And particularly what I want to actually talk about today was the press briefing he had when Benjamin Netanyahu came to visit him. So but before then, let's kind of recap what he's been doing, because it's really been a very busy period for him since he took over the 20th of January. It's actually less than a month, and obviously he is always going to be in the news as the president of America, but again, he's Donald Trump. And then he promised his supporters, his voters, a lot of things, and he's trying as much as he can to keep to what he has promised them. So I would not blame him on that. From signing the bill he has signed, his first bill, from blocking and pausing USAID, yes, and then to saying he wants Greenland. His son even went to Greenland to say he's going to collect. And I like the way he was like he's going to collect. You know this guy, when God told Abraham, as far as you can see. So Trump just sits down like, oh, I can see this. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to get it, or make Canada the 51st state of America. Or giving tariffs, deporting people. Like, so it's really been very busy and all that. But that press conference was kind of a very interesting interactions. I've watched a lot of his press conferences and they are very interesting, even when he's signing executive orders, pardoning people and all that. And I like the interaction he always used to have with the press. It's like there's no pressure on him. He just says what he wants to say. It's like he's having conversations with them, and then whenever he gets to meet or someone who he doesn't really like, or he doesn't like the question, he tries sometimes to answer the question, but he doesn't give you room to kind of interact the more. Or if you ask a question that he thinks is a stupid question, or why you ask me this kind of question, there's a way he's going to go about it. But generally speaking, especially if you're on the fence like me, you're going to kind of enjoy and you just laugh over some of these things. But again, yeah, let's go back to our press conference. And that press conference was the one where he talked about relocating Gazans. You know, these things he has been saying it, and then he felt like, oh, probably it's not really a serious thing. But until that day when they were in the Oval Office, that was in the Oval Office with Netanyahu, that's when he first, in my thoughts, was kind of casually making mention of it. But later, when they now went to this, when they were now having the press briefing, that's when he now said it again. So I'm like, oh, okay, this doesn't look like an off the court Trump saying something. He has repeated this thing again, even though the next day his press secretary tried to say kind of make some like let's say amendments to whatever he said. So yes, let's get into that press conference in no particular order. I'm just going to go through some of the interactions he had with journalists and what how his responses were and what he said. So the first one was when an Afghan journalist, so this was on the first question that was asked. I just picked it up this way. So the first question, when an Afghan journalist asked about his plans for Afghanistan in relation to the Taliban and all that. So me, I could hear him. I could hear the journalist ask the question when I was watching it. But Trump said he didn't hear the question. But by the way, he said he liked her voice, even though he couldn't make out what she was saying. And then he just moved on from the question. So I'm really not sure if he truly did not hear what she was saying, or he was just being diplomatic and told her she had a nice voice. So yeah. And then the next thing, so of course the topic is him talking about relocating Gazans. And so that was like what most of the questions were centered around. And then the next one, CNN asked him, where does he want the Gazans that he wants to take out, where does he want them to go to? So he now said, so again, he didn't call them Gazans. That's another thing, or Palestinians. He just said the people. So they're like, where do you want them to get relocated to? He then said he said he wanted the people of the world to live in Gaza. So I don't know what the people of the world to live in Gaza really means, but but he said he wanted to make the place habitable, and then everybody can come back into it. But I'm like, everybody doesn't just go back into any land. If this land belongs to you, it's the people that would come. Yes, other people would come, stay, visit and all that, but the place does not belong to people of the world. So yeah, but that's how he responded. He said people of the world. And then when they asked him if he was here to put any military action, I think another thing was when they were kind of throwing both questions, they'll throw it to both Trump and Netanyahu. And then I think at some point Netanyahu was also kind of being very diplomatic about it, because he can actually just say they want them to relocate people from Gaza. He just said whatever that's going to make Gaza not to be a threat to Israel, that is what he wants and that is what they want. And again, for me, I think that was a very sound political answer, whatever his thoughts were. And then at first when Trump said it, I wasn't sure he kind of was on board. I'm not sure, but it sounded as though he was not at first, like, oh, okay, this man has said this thing. But again, he kept going back in answering the questions. He kept going back to what Trump was saying, which I felt was a smart thing. Like, okay, this is Trump's problem, it is not my problem. Mentioning what he wanted, he said he wanted Egypt and Jordan to take the Palestinian people, and then for the peace and good of the land. So they need to leave, because again, it's not inhabitable for anybody. And then something happened today when they were releasing the 3 male hostages that way in Israel. Like usually when they take them to all those their parades, they take them to kind of, you see, dilapidated buildings and all that. But this particular, today's one was kind of clean cut area where they took where they did the handover ceremony to the Red Cross. So yeah, so maybe, I don't know, maybe because of what he was saying about the place not being good enough for anybody to stay in, why would anybody want to stay there as per his own reason for wanting to move them. But it was really very funny to hear him say he would just relocate them, and Israel, Egypt and Jordan and other Arab states should take them. Like, I'm not sure that's how all these things work. But yeah, so that's Donald Trump, and I've been enjoying it. And again, as I said, it depends on what part of the equation you fall under. If you're a Trump supporter, obviously you're enjoying this and it's going to be like a very beautiful 4 years for you if Jesus tarries. And then if you're not a Trump supporter, it's going to really be a very, very long 4 years for you, because yeah, from Doge to people being blocked. I think the Congress the other day were being blocked from getting access to the Department of Education, all sorts of things. Like, America is just a movie right now. And yeah, coming from a Nigerian, my country is very interesting and a lot of things are happening, but wow, Donald Trump is really making it happen in America. I think now he has also blocked Joe Biden's intelligence briefings clearance. So he said he did it to him when he first when Joe Biden got into office 4 years ago. He blocked Trump from getting access to the briefings and all that. So it was like, and then that was the first time that was happening. And so yeah, Trump just returned the favor, and then he has been taking away people's security details. Like, not because you work for government should you have security for all your life. You can go and purchase or get your own you can go and get your own security detail. You know, the government doesn't have to pay for it. And I think the one that's really shaking everywhere right now is the USAID one, where a lot of people are complaining the drugs that the organization provides for people are subsidized with. But again, you're having these very interesting things that they said they are spending money on overseas in other people's countries. So I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money for some of the interesting things that are coming up. So yeah, I just wanted to do a brief on Trump 2.0, all he's been doing, and yeah, watching all those interactions he has with the press, which really, to be honest, they've really been very interesting. I remember, I don't know if he was just being funny about it, the first day he got into office when he was signing those executive orders, and then he had to go and collect, he was one guy from the Fox correspondent at the White House was now asking if there was a note left for him by President Biden, and he's like, oh, he doesn't know, let him check. And then he goes to the drawer, pulls out and finds it, like, oh, there's a letter here. And then Peter was like, oh, he's going to read it for him. And I said, yeah, I know you would want to. So it's just really very nice hearing him talk to journalists in a very calm, like not so no, that's not the right word to say. In a very nice way, like, yeah, not so strict, not so formal. And then if he doesn't want to answer you, he doesn't want to answer you. So yeah, so what have you been enjoying of Chum so far? Or if you're not so fond of him, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. And yeah, that's it for here today. See you guys next time. Bye bye.